13th. The time is 6:30 p.m. We will go ahead and call this public hearing to order. If you would, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we are here tonight for the public hearing for the proposed 2023 to 2033 Comprehensive Master Plan. This is a position where it is completely open for anyone that wishes to speak. As there are still people coming in, does anyone that's walking in wish to speak at all? If so, can you please just sign or tell me your name and I can write you in? Steve Trice. Anybody else that did not sign in on the sheet wish to speak? Okay. All right. If anybody does at the end, we can go ahead and add it in. What I'll do now is I'll just turn it over to the mayor for a brief overview of kind of this process and leave it up to him. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Council President. For those of you who are not fully familiar with the master planning process, we've been through a couple of years now putting together this 2033 master plan. It is a requirement for all of our municipalities to go through one of these. The county does a comprehensive plan as well, so that's kind of overview. I was around in 2013, though I wasn't on the council. I was a volunteer, and I see Bill Butts out there. He did a lot of work on the 2013 master plan, as did our town administrator, Heather Smith. So it's something that we go through every 10 years. And the main reason for being here tonight is to listen to you. So that's about as much of an overview as I'm going to give you, but I'll read some excerpts out of the executive summary just to kind of warm us up a little bit. Starting with that, and it is on the I page of this. The Town of Mount Airy Comprehensive Master Plan conforms to the Maryland requirements for municipality master plans and continues our efforts to wisely manage all growth, development, land use, and public services in a manner that protects and enhances our residents' high quality of life and community identity. This is the vision. This plan is written with the intent of Mount Airy remaining a small town throughout the next decade where our environment, safety, and health are protected, where limited growth does not create congestion in our schools or on our roads, where adequate or even surplus water and sewer capacity exists, and where a revenue stream supports the necessary increases in public services and amenities. All of these characteristics of the 2033 Town of Mount Airy will reflect our unwavering determination to maintain a high quality of living and to have every resident conclude that they are part of a close-knit and caring community. Let's skip through a couple of paragraphs here. Citizen participation. The amount of citizen participation from the town residents is remarkable. The town has 13 commissions, boards, committees, and task forces, all run by volunteers. Their dedicated efforts contribute significantly to the planning and development of infrastructure needs and amenities. Town residents' participation in the 2020 town survey and previous surveys provided very clear direction as to the residents' desires and how they feel the town government should proceed. Their views were considered in creating this plan, and their participation in public hearings will always be encouraged and valued as part of council and mayoral decisions. This is our commitment to grow wisely. Under that section, we will only grow or develop where and when adequate public facilities and community services can be provided, and our quality of life and community identity are protected and enhanced. We will always aim toward a town in 2033 that is safe, vibrant, well-designed, and attractive to live, work, play, and raise a family. We will always solicit and listen to our residents on all matters of growth or development. The resident is our most important stakeholder in our future. We would like to express extreme gratitude to the Planning Commission and Zoning Administrator for assembling this comprehensive master plan and presenting such a solid document for the Council's consideration and acceptance. This effort required many meetings with commissions and stakeholders, multiple workshops, public comment throughout, and finally a public hearing, which we're doing tonight. It is a reflection of our entire community as we enter the year 2025, and we have extreme confidence that in 2033, Mount Airy will be a safe, vibrant, and financially strong community that people will always desire as a place for their families to reside. That's from the executive hearing. You're welcome to come up here and make comments if there is something in here that, that you guys see as something that we missed. We're not perfect up here. We're a body that's trying to represent you. So whatever you say tonight is something that we're going to take serious. And if we need to amend something in this plan, then we'll do it. Again, tonight's about you telling us, giving us your feedback. So with that, I'll relinquish it back over.
All right, so what we'll do is we will basically just go right off the list. Again, for people that have kind of filed in as the mayor was talking, if you do wish to speak, I'll call on the people that have signed in, and then once all these people have gone through, I'll ask for anybody else, and I'll just have to get your name, address, and email address, which you can tell me after the meeting if you don't want to put it out there.
Just one request to anyone that's coming up and speaking, if you're referencing the master plan or something in it, please just list the page and line number so we can follow through it currently or afterwards, please. Thank you.
All right, so first up on the sign-in form, we have Ms. Martina Hatley.
It was just in case.
Okay,
I'm good.
you're good?
Yeah.
Okay. Ralph, did you want to say anything at all? Just, you don't need to? Okay, all right. Then we will go to Charlie Mansfield. How are you, sir? Good to see you.
Thanks for letting me speak. Can you hear me okay? All right. So I'd like to congratulate the members of the Town Council and Planning Commission and others involved in the production of the master plan. It appears to me to be a very good document. It's a good product that will guide the town over the next 10 years or so. There are a couple of items in the master plan that I find very interesting that deal with some requirements for future development that apply to all zonings, and that is complete streets and green streets. I think implementing these items would benefit both the people and the environment as described in the master plan. However, as I look through the code, I don't see any language that addresses these items. There are other opportunities to update the code too, to better help evaluate development plans. So I have a recommendation for the council on several initiatives to update the code or would result in updating the code. And there's 4 of them. There's 2 that are obvious, and the other 2 maybe not so obvious. But the first 2 are what I just talked about is the inserting language to include complete streets. And then number 2, insert language to include green streets. Simple enough. And then number 3, I have here evaluate lessons learned on mixed-use developments. As you know, we've gone through a lot of effort in these last 3.5 years to implement mixed-use developments, and I think it would do well for the town, the council, to take a look at the mixed-use development in the code and do an evaluation of it, see if it needs any updates. And then, of course, if there's updates that are needed, go ahead and make the updates. Then the other thing that I think is important with regard to development is to evaluate the development steps that are delineated in the code, and then update the code to, as a result of that evaluation. I think as we went through these last few years, from time to time, there have been a lot of citizen comments and even comments among yourselves that perhaps the code, in one respect, maybe the steps are not in the right order, or maybe there's some things that are lacking. And so I think it really calls for an evaluation of development steps. All right, these initiatives are pretty significant, but I think would be very helpful in making the next generation of development projects go much more smoothly and successfully. So thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Charlie. Appreciate you coming out. Next up, we have Mr. Michael Dixon. How you doing, sir?
Good, how you doing?
Good.
I don't know what page my lot is on, but it's lot 73. I think it's the first one on the list. Lot 73, Backacre Circle. I'm the owner of that lot, and I just wanted to get up in front of you all and give you a little bit of background on what we currently have on Backacre Circle at 1902 Backacre Circle, where we have a 24,000 square foot building. And we house probably one of the largest employers of Mount Airy besides Walmart and the grocery stores. We have 80-some people in there. And our envision for Lot 73, which is residential, currently zoned residential right now, but it's up for industrial. We would like to have the opportunity for them to expand over into that lot. They are outgrowing our current building faster than we can provide space for them. They were G3, and they're currently, their company name is Epic now. They've been bought out by another company, and they do military electronics and assemble different things for the military and the government. And they're just outgrowing the space. They need more space. And if we don't provide the space for them, they're looking in Frederick. So one of the things that we wanted to do was try to provide the opportunity to keep them in Mount Airy. They have their Christmas party at the bowling alley. They come down to Liquidity for, different events. We think they provide a lot of, economy for Mount Airy. They eat here. We don't require a lot like other building types. We don't require much from water and sewer. We have bathrooms in the building. I'm sure 80 people requires a little bit from water and sewer, but not like some other things. We don't require anything from schools. One thing about my building and the way I build too, I'm very passionate on green building. And when I built my building on Backacre Circle, the whole building is heated and cooled by geothermal. And we are offsetting our footprint there by about 35%. So our carbon footprint that we originally had that we built the building, we offset that every year by about 35%. Not that that means anything, because if the lot gets, changed over to industrial, anybody could build anything there. That's not a guarantee. But I will tell you, if I build something there, we try to use a lot of innovative things. We try to do green building as much as we can. So just asking to have some consideration on what businesses we already have in Mount Airy and try to keep the business here is the plan to bring them over to Lot 73. I know we're up against residential on one side, but it is a big field. There's no houses there. We're up against open space on the other side, and in the frontage, we already are a complete progression of Backacre Circle on our road frontage in the front. So appreciate any consideration that you could give us. Does anybody have any questions?
I have a question. I just want to make sure we understand. Lot 73, are you familiar with the lot?
Yeah, currently that's in the master plan, and the recommendation from the planning commission is for it to go from residential to industrial. And those items will be addressed once this is adopted. Then we'll have public hearings again, and then those properties will come in front of the council for determination at
Okay.
that time.
So it sounds like we're moving the way,
Yeah, the current recommendation from the planning commission is to be industrial from residential.
well,
One of my questions that keeps getting thrown back at me by the current tenant in there is, what is the progression of this master plan and adopting it? I know we can't move forward with anything until that gets done, and that continually holds up us being able to try and keep somebody in Mount Airy.
Sure, so the next step is ultimately after this public hearing, if there's any inputs from the council that they want to include, that'll be provided, and it should come to a public hearing, or to vote possibly next month, if not March,
Gotcha. Okay.
February.
Anybody got anything else?
So I do have one question.
Okay.
So are you moving from that current location to this lot, or you're expanding to this lot?
Yeah, they
So
need-
both buildings?
Yeah, they need more space. It's not the ideal situation, but the topography allows us to shoot a network between it so they can all work together. They were housed in the Dirtsball building, if you remember. They were G3, and they actually moved into my building because they didn't have enough space there, and they shot between those two buildings and did a network.
Okay.
And they just completely moved into my building, and now they're still out of space. So that's not your all's problem, but I just wanted to let you know what the plans were.
Ralph, you have a question? If you want, you can go to that mic right over there if you want.
No, just for the purposes of reference, this is page 73, line 2261 for the gentleman's comments.
Okay.
Thank you.
Page 73, line 2261.
Thank you.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Sure.
Yeah, I want to say we had a pretty extensive conversation about this lot specific, didn't we? Okay, yeah, all right. Okay. Next up, we'll go with Mr. Steve Trice. And if you
How
want,
are you?
whenever you get done, if you don't mind, I'll just hand you this, if you can just fill out your,
Need my name, address, and all that?
yeah, but I don't need you to say it.
A little later? Okay, so I came at the previous planning commission meeting, and I'd like to thank Ralph personally for hearing our comments about the Harrison Leisure property. For those that don't know, I live on Boatler Road, which borders Harrison Leisure on the east side. And so we've been long concerned about the development there. So it looks like in the plan, it's now slated all residential, low-density residential, which is really fantastic, so thank you, and thank you. I did have a small concern, this was something that Larry brought up online, that there were some potential, and rightfully so, for some additional use of the property for community center, fire department, EMT, medical type stuff. So my only ask is that when that consideration is given for that property, is that if you take a look at the plan that the Planning Commission put originally, when they were doing some mixed use, they were going to put that out on 27 as opposed to, near the homes. And I'd like to ask that if that type of stuff does go on that property, that it's put out there, right, not next to the homes. It just makes sense from a ease of use and access perspective anyway, because there's no access to the corner that, the property kind of is a triangle at one corner where it hits Watersville. There's no way to get in there. There's homes. Now, the town owns 6.5 acres right there of the woods, but that's the intersection of 27 and Watersville. I don't know how you turn it into a 6 or whatever intersection. So that was thing one. Thing two is the 6.5 acres that's slated, that's already part of the town, that's slated for some sort of mixed use or commercial use or whatever it is, that's, pardon? Okay. That is extremely close to homes, like probably within 75 yards of the homes that are right there on Watersville and Boatler. So I'd ask that you take a look at that before any, and talk to those folks there before. It's not my house, but it's extremely close. So where Harrison Leisure comes down to a point and hits Watersville, the 6.5 acres, it's that piece of woods that's there. And so if there's to be some commercial development there, which doesn't make sense to me, but if that's what's to be considered, at least, go out and look at the property and take a look at whose houses you're going to affect and talk to the homeowners there, because we're not part of the town. That's it.
All right,
Thank you.
all right, thank you, Steve. I just want to see if I can find. Is there anyone else that wishes to? Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Simone. Thank you. I'm Simone Blanchard. I also live on Butler Road, and I'll give you my details after. First I just want to say thank you, because the plans that you currently have in the comprehensive plan, in my opinion, for Harrison LaShare, which are now low-density residential and conservation, is extremely better than what it was before, which, as you know, was Office Park Employment Campus, where we would have been looking at 36 office buildings, 3 stories high on that land. So thank you for listening, and thank you for this new plan. I think it's much better and much more suited to Mount Airy. I will say that also thank you for listening at the last meeting, because I believe some changes were made after Steve talked at the last meeting, and that 6.5 acres that the town already owns was, I think you had it as mixed use, but now it's R2, which is 13 units R2, which I think is better than mixed use there. As Steve said, that's really close to homes. But I think there's some people on our street who say that there is a historic unmarked cemetery on that land. So I don't know if that's true or not, or what that means, but, and we can get you more information about that if you need it. And then I also just want to ask what the county thinks of this new plan, and if you would please let us know when there will be meetings with the county, especially if citizens can listen in on those meetings. As you know, the county really wants commercial. They think that we're out of balance in the county. They think we have too much residential. They're pushing for commercial. They almost, sold that land for huge mixed-use projects. So I'm just curious about what if the county has given input, Hannah and others, to this plan and what they think.
As far as I know, we're not in any talks with the county currently, but for anything on Butler Road at Harrison this year, keep an eye on the county too, because we'll be notified when you all notified. And any changes on the plan in here related to Harrison this year is only if it's annexed into the town. I want to make people aware of that, because if we can't come to an agreement with the county, no matter what, the county has the same legal land use authority as the town does. And they're looking hard at it, and they're short on money. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
So,
And are there plans to start meetings back up
No.
with the county?
No.
No,
Okay.
We haven't heard anything
I
from.
do want to clarify one thing too. So the 6.6 acres is not owned by the town. That's also owned by the county, and it's always
Oh.
been shown as R2. It's never been shown as a mixed use. Maybe during one of the drafts, it might have been mixed use or OPE, but it was.
I'm pretty sure in the plan it says it's owned by the town in the text. It says it's part of
It's in
the
the
town.
corporate limits, yes, but it's
Oh,
not
but
owned
it's
by
not
the town.
owned. Oh, I'm sorry. It's
Right, I
in,
just
so
wanna
it
make
wouldn't
sure.
have to be annexed.
Yeah,
Right,
that's actually
okay.
owned by Carroll County as well.
Okay,
It's already annexed. It won't need to be annexed. It is currently R2 in the town, but it's owned by Carroll County government.
okay. So it's beyond that house that was sold by the Carroll County
Yeah, right on the
Authority.
corner, that was their house at one point too, I think, because that's the one you're speaking of.
Yeah, and they sold it last year. Okay,
Yep. But that farm, that wooded area is owned by Carroll County government. It is zoned R2 in the town, and it is in our corporate limits currently.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wish to speak? One last chance. All right. Hearing nobody, we will go ahead and close this public hearing for the 2033 Comprehensive Master Plan.
Do we want to read those couple of things in, or do we not read those items in?
Uh-oh.
Do the comment that we received
Oh,
offline.
yes, the emails.
And Nancy also included.
Yes. My mistake. Before I go ahead and close this meeting, we did get some emails from citizens regarding their comments that we should read into the record. So I just want to make sure that they get in. So one came from the Cole chairperson, Ms. Adele Connolly. She said, "Here are my comments as a Cole commissioner regarding the master plan. I appreciate all consideration for the need for a new and expanded senior center in Mount Airy. I concur that the usage of the Harrison-Lashir property for this is the way to go. I would reiterate that this should be a separate building and not combined with any other functions such as a community center, rec center, or library. Each of these should be standalone facilities. I appreciate anything we can do to include this in Mount Airy's master plan. The expansion of the library should not be under the purview of Cole. Just because the senior center and library are currently in one building, this is not ideal and should not be handled separately. I cannot state unequivocally who should take on that responsibility, but it should not be Cole. Further, I am hopeful that the town will be including in its transportation plans the need to explore cross-county transportation services for seniors and others who may need assistance with transportation. Some type of mass transportation, on-demand, or shuttle service needs to be explored and ideally be something provided by the counties that will cross county lines." Thank you, Adele Connolly. And I don't think, was there another one? Do you have it? All right, this one is coming from Parks and Rec and Miss Nancy Hernandez. So I'll just read the whole thing. I noticed on the Recreation and Parks map that number 14 indicates proposed ball fields. Please, can the impact on the waterway and the wildlife be studied and reviewed before any ball field plans move forward? I realize that it might be years before there is any movement, but I want to mention that the indicated area serves as a green corridor for wildlife. The small waterway is home to tiny chorus frogs known as spring peepers. Each March, Chris Bauer leads our popular activity that lets participants observe and learn about the spring peepers. We also host regular bird watching and nature walks and hope to add more in the future. If needed, Graceful is a wonderful resource on the types of birds and wildlife that frequent the area. While I realize there are many residents who enjoy sports and could use additional baseball and softball fields, I feel we need to consider the environmental impacts before undertaking any plans. Parks and Recreation encompasses a range of activities, not merely sports. There are many residents who appreciate having beautiful passive areas to enjoy nature and relax. On page 127 of the master plan, it is not noted that 61.6% of respondents to the 2020 survey indicated their number one desires for nature trails and walking, biking paths. Anecdotally, I think that's the word, the popularity of Rails to Trails and the Windy Ridge East-West Trail supports this response. Also on page 43, we note that the town and Carroll County prefer to retain existing forest area to meet requirements of the Maryland Forest Conservation Act. Windy Ridge, East-West have mature trees that support many species, such as the American kestrel. The American kestrel is the smallest falcon in the United States, and its population numbers have dropped in half within the last 50 years. It is designated as a species of greatest conservation need in the Maryland State Wildlife Action Plan. I hope for Mount Airy to be responsible stewards of the land within our borders. I want us to be able to provide recreational opportunities without harming the other creatures that also live here. Thanks for allowing me to share my thoughts. Best wishes, Nancy Hernandez, Parks and Events Manager.
Council President, we all did additionally get another citizen comment in an email today, and I think you might want to include that. It went to all of us, so,
Yeah, I think this came from Mr. Fry.
yes.
Council President, before you read that, could we just have, I know we've got the Cole and the statement that you're about ready to read. Could we have Nancy Hernandez, have town staff send Ms. Hernandez's email to us all so we have it, unless it hasn't been? Yeah,
I think it went
please.
directly to John, so if John can.
Okay,
forward it.
yeah, I just,
Yeah, so we have it on.
cool, thank you.
All right, so the council did receive today an email from a town resident, Gary Fry. So he would like to provide his comments for the record and our consideration. The natural features map on the final draft shows forest cover to the south of Backacre Circle and Twin Arch Road. All of those trees are gone. There are some new trees planted in a small area, but this map is not correct and has not been for the last 3 years. Designated comprehensive use map, OPE on the south end of town, this is not a plan. I look at the master plan with more questions than answers on this property. My interpretation of what is written in the master plan is that the town only cares about getting water and the rest of the details are not worth addressing. Of specific concern, access to the property. Will this be off of South Main? Is the planned roundabout sustainable to support the large commercial development? Will access be off of 144? In my observation of town meetings, I have a feeling the folks of Twin Ridge will be extremely upset if access is off of 144 near their neighborhood. Harrison Lashir. While I appreciate abandoning the idea of OPE and MXD for this partial, whatever goes in here will require more planning than what this plan provides. I do not think the infrastructure will support this. In my opinion, the statement that has been echoed for years by this council, previous councils, and planning commissions, that doing this so the town will have control is just talk. Countless times developers come in and make a pitch to the planning commission and promise the world, but when it comes down to making them follow what they promise, the developers cry and the town caves in. With reason, I do not trust the town to manage growth. Future annexation areas map. I think the plan showing the future town well off of Twin Arch is a poor plan for 2 reasons. One, the town is providing public water to the community across the street from the planned well because the well in that neighborhood is contaminated due to town activities. Is the water on the other side of Twin Arch not contaminated? 2, the town is seeking water from outside the town limits. This goes to my point above. I do not trust the town to exploit the natural resources at the expense of county residents. Why is the town not seeking to annex the trailer park since it will now be on town utilities? Proposed street system. I think connecting Twin Arch to East Ridgeville is a huge injustice to the residents on East Ridgeville. This will be the main egress for the 11 acres of industrial off of Twin Arch, but I would imagine all of the J&J trash trucks will run up and down that road at all times of the day or night. That is a quiet residential area that has not been pointed out as a potential big lifestyle change. If the expectation is connectivity, then make Twin Ridge a through street between South Main and 144. That condition is almost the exact same situation. Recreation and parks. Proposed trails and bikeways. I appreciate the idea. Again, this is an idea that really lacks in-depth thought. This shows trails being built on property not even in the town's limits, and that the town does not have the authority to develop on. I also do not think it is wise to promote bike traffic on Ridgeside Drive. The road is very busy with cars, and that will be relieved with bikes or pedestrians. Existing facilities. Twin Arch Bridge is not in the town limits and should not be considered a town facility. As I stated before, my comments come from a place of wanting the best for our community. While I recognize that town is where it is now, it does not mean the future has to perpetuate the weaknesses. Thank you, Gary Fry. And that came from, I'm going to say that's everything that we received via email. Yes, ma'am. You'd like to speak? Yes. Name, please. What was your last name? I'm sorry. Orient. All right.
I just want to make a comment question on the one letter or email that you read about the senior center. And I want to be fiscally responsible. Because when I go to the senior center, I consider it to be underutilized and hardly anyone ever there when I enter the senior center to do something. So I don't know why we need a larger senior center. I think it's ideal to have it be with the library. You know, there's additional meeting rooms in the library. If they wanted to have an additional room or for some reason, they could reserve one at the library. The library is a benefit to the seniors. Even if there was a community center there, I think that would be fine. I don't know why they would have to all three be separate. But I would like y'all to get the usage numbers of the current senior center. There's a login computer there. They should be able to tell you how many people
All right, thank you very much. Yes, ma'am. All right, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry I'm late.
You're okay. Name, please?
My name is Peggy White, and I live on East Ridgeville Boulevard since 1981. And it's a dead-end street. I missed half the meeting. I don't know what you're planning on doing as far as a industrial park down the end. It's been cleaned up a lot. There's no sidewalks on the road. My son actually has the only sidewalk on the right-hand side going down. I mean, he even had to fight with the schools to have his kids picked up where he paid to put a sidewalk in and not walk up and down the street where people are parking. It's dangerous. Geiger's has been wonderful. They've done a lot of cleanup. The place has really cleaned up since 1981. But I don't know how many people, 20 years ago, came in here arguing, please don't put the asphalt plant down there. They came from all over town saying, don't do it. So I don't know what y'all are planning down there, but I mean, there was an accident at Twin Arch 6 months ago, and everybody was turning down that road. I couldn't get out of my driveway. It's a dead end. It's not just like I said, there's no sidewalks. The drainage is terrible. The drains that are there are full of dirt. It's just not a through road. It's a neighborhood anymore. People have bought houses, fixed it up really nice. And the last thing we need is more trucks going up and down the street when there's no sidewalks for people to even walk up to Burger King or whatever they want to do. So just, think about things like that. Years ago, I drug my kids around when they wanted to make Conestoga Heights an industrial park. And I bought that house with a 10% assumable mortgage in 1981. That was a great deal. And we put a lot of money into fixing up the house. And, all of a sudden, the town wanted to make it an industrial park. I fought it then. I fought it when you wanted to put in the asphalt plant. And I'm here to say that I'll get my neighbors to fight it again if I have to. It's just not the right place. Unless you want to fix up the street, which would be great. So that's all I wanted to say.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I have to come again. The current senior center also sits right adjacent to all the senior housing that's there, where people could easily get to the senior center, walk, or, whatever. And that email that you read talked about having to have maybe transportation for people to get between, the things. So I consider it to be ideally situated. And if the senior center does deserve a larger space, I would move the library and put an elevator from the second floor of the senior center down to the library and give them all that building, because it's ideally situated with the senior housing. Anyway, that's just
All right, thank you. All right, do we have anyone else who wishes to speak? Anybody at all? We good to close out?
Is to
We're
Mr.
not good to
Fry's-
close out.
Sorry. Mr. Fry's comment about the Twin Arch Bridge not being in the town, but the existing facilities labels it as a historical site. So I think it is part of Mount Airy. It might not be in the corporate limits, but technically I think it is a historical site. So I think it's labeled correctly on the map.
Okay. All right. Well, then at this time, it is 7:10 PM. We will go ahead and call the public hearing for the 2033 Comprehensive Master Plan to a close. Thank you, everyone, for coming. And our January council meeting will start in about 20 minutes. Thank you. date is actually January the 13th, and I will call this January Town of Mount Airy Town Council meeting to order. If you would, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I almost called another public hearing to order. Sorry about that. Had to get my head right.
Tim, I forgot there is a presentation.
Okay, that's fine. All right, so first up on the agenda will be the presentations portion, which I was just told there's a presentation.
I don't think it's working,
And
John.
that guy's here, so I'm a little nervous about that.
Got it? Test, test, test. Okay, all right, finally came on. So last month, we recognized all the coaches for the football team. And there was one coach that didn't get recognized. So what we have is a certificate of achievement from the town of Mount Airy to Coach Tim Washabaugh. The town of Mount Airy hereby presents this certificate of achievement to Coach Tim Washabaugh and commends you on winning the 2024 JV Division I Super Bowl. The town acknowledges your great accomplishment, and we wish you continued success in all your future endeavors. And that's signed by all of us except you.
Oh, thank you guys very much.
Congratulations.
I appreciate it.
No problem. If you want.
Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it.
Boys aren't here, so we're making up for it.
Definitely all about the boys.
We didn't have all their little cell phone numbers.
Thank you guys very much. Well, thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. Next up, we will move to public comment. Anyone here wish to speak? If I can get up.
You want to go? Go ahead.
That's okay. I need the exercise. There we go. Okay. Well, just when you thought all that election nonsense was over, it's town of Mount Airy election time this year. I'm Bruce Wallace, Chair of the Board of Supervisors of Election, and we will be having a town election on Tuesday, May 6th. 2 council seats, those currently held by Stephen Demoter and Lynn Galletti, and the office of mayor, held by Larry Hushauer, will be open. First nomination meeting for these positions will be Monday, February 18th. The second nominating meeting will be Monday, February 25th, when the
Thank you, Bruce.
Good evening, I'm Wayne Evans. 16473 Old Frederick Road, live on the wrong side of the tracks. It's my pleasure this evening. every
Wayne,
year
hey,
this time-
Wayne, hang on 1 second. We just, for the recording, we probably just have to. Sorry, bud.
That's all right.
All right, there we go.
Every year at this time, the Historical Society of Mount Airy inducts 5 individuals in the Mount Airy Hall of Fame. These names are submitted by friends, different associations, service groups like the Lions and the Rotary and Kiwanis, and other groups such as Fire Department and Veterans Associations. 5 are chosen by a committee from a pool of names that are submitted every year. Each name submitted is held for consideration for 5 years. This year's recipients are all recognized for their years of service. They're all very community active. We have a very distinguished group in 2025. Our first is Mary Jo Burkett. Mary Jo's been involved in Rotary International for many years. Here in Mount Airy, she's held just about every office in the Mount Airy Rotary Club, as well as numerous positions covering the district. Mary Jo never seeks recognition for her work and prefers a more behind-the-scenes role. When the tornado hit a couple of years ago, Mary was on site and key in getting help to the Pleasant Ridge Trailer Park on Frederick Road. Mary will be joining her husband, Paul, in the Hall of Fame this year. Paul was in the class of 2024. Our second inductee is Adele Conley. To say Adele is involved is an understatement. Currently, she's chair of the town's Commission on Aging and Livability. She's a volunteer at the Mount Airy Senior Center. She serves on the board of directors for Save the Flatiron Building Task Force. She's an active member of the Historical Society of Mount Airy and frequently speaks at other historical groups on Mount Airy's history. She volunteers as a docent at the museum and many times a month, very often in the month, and is an active member of the planning committee. That's a group that's within the Historical Society that actually works in the museum, and a very active member of that planning committee. Our third may be close by this evening is Matt Hurd. Matt is an active member of the Mount Airy Volunteer Fire Company and he's seen in all of the different functions presented by the fire company. He's chaired many of these functions in committees such as the annual carnival and the duck race every year in conjunction with the Mount Airy Rotary. Matt also chairs the board of directors for the Pine Grove Chapel and Cemetery. He's spearheading a project these days to clean and preserve many of the grave markers in the cemetery. Our fourth inductee is a name that many, if you've not lived here for very long, would not remember. It's Jack Steele. Jack was born in 1911, passed away in 1999. Many of our lifelong residents remember Jack. He was a go-to guy in the community for many years. He was a charter member of the Mount Airy Lions Club, held numerous positions on the board of directors through the years. He's also served in many positions with the Lions Club District 22W region, and for many years was a postmaster here for Mount Airy. Our fourth inductee is Fran Wimmer. Fran is one of those special people who sees the need to help and will jump right in. She seeks no recognition and will steer away from any notoriety. Anyone who has attended any function sponsored by the Mount Airy Volunteer Fire Company, or the auxiliary for that matter, will have seen Fran, usually lending a hand in the kitchen. She chairs or helps with carnivals, breakfasts, dinners, and other special functions held at the fire department or the activity center. She is indeed a valued member of Mount Airy Volunteer Fire Company and citizen of Mount Airy. This year's Hall of Fame induction ceremony, the dinner will be held March the 18th at the Mount Airy American Legion Gold Star Post on Prospect Avenue. Tickets can be purchased at Ellie Bondi's Blossom and Basket Boutique. The event begins at 5 p.m. with a social hour and a dinner and awards beginning at 6 p.m. Any questions about that? We would hope that we'll get a good crowd. Love to see a lot of you town officers at that Hall of Fame banquet. It's really a lot of fun. You get to meet the inductees and their families and kind of hear more about their background. So if you can do that, it'd be great. I have a second announcement to make tonight. Does not have anything to do with this, but representing Calvary Methodist Church tonight as well. The church has been a center of the community activity since 1884. There's actually been a church. Calvary Church has actually been in that footprint where the newer church, 1916, the newer church is built. In order to keep up with the town's needs, Calvary has acquired and installed a Narcan dispensary unit. It's located on the top floor, just inside the entrance, in a large blue unit clearly marked Narcan. It's free, no questions asked, and is refilled as needed by the Health and Wellness Committee of the church. It's available anytime the church is open and available through the week when the office staff is there. They also have, in that same location, an automatic defibrillator, electronic defibrillator. So anyone in stress on Main Street, church is happy to help. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne.
I have a question.
John, any questions?
So when can you nominate somebody this coming year?
Generally, they come in November. You can do it any time, and you can get the forms. You can get the forms at the museum or online with the Historical Society. I'm glad you asked that question. Frequently we're asked, well, who decides who really gets in? They form a committee that the rest of us don't know who they are, and they're different every year. Mm-hmm. They not only look at names that have been brought in, like in November this past year, but we will keep those on record for 5 years. Frequently, they'll go back to that because the committee changes every year, and some of the people on the committee may know more about the individual people. So we do keep those names on record for 5 years, and frequently we'll have people nominated by numerous different people. So that's kind of how we do it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Holly, can we make a note just for the February and the March council meeting, just to set a reminder for that dinner? So that we can just keep it on the forefront? Okay, all right. Next up, we'll get to our approval of council meeting minutes and closed minutes. So I will make a motion to approve the Mount Airy minutes from our December 2nd, 2024 town council meeting. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor to approve the December 2nd, 2024 Town Council Mount Airy meeting minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We also have December 2024 closed meeting minutes. Subject was land acquisition. I will make a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor of approving the December 2024 closed meeting minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Next up, we have our Civil Air Patrol report with Major Rolfe. How are you, sir?
Good, how are you guys?
Good.
All right. Am I coming through all right? All right, this is our report for December 2024, which seems like it was quite a while ago now. For significant mission activities, we had several members of the squadron, which actually comprised half of the team from Maryland Wing, to participate in a small counter small unmanned aerial system, or UAS drone, training mission with the security forces at Langley Air Force Base in Virginia. The squadron, along with several others from Maryland, Virginia, and DC wings, participated in a wreath-laying ceremony at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier on December 1st, which is Civil Air Patrol's anniversary. We also placed some wreaths at the Civil Air Patrol Memorial at Arlington National Cemetery in honor of two of our own members from Colorado Wing that were lost in a plane crash back in November. The Squadron Cyber Patriot team completed its final round of competition, and I recently learned, since I wrote this, that the team actually placed first in the gold tier of the competition, which is the mid-level range of competition on that one. For community support, the squadron conducted its quarterly Adopt a Road cleanup along South Main Street. We also provided color guard for the annual Wreaths Across America ceremony at Pine Grove Cemetery, and a number of our members also participated in placing the wreaths at within the cemetery. And finally, I met with the mayor, this seems like a while ago, but it was in December, I checked, to discuss potential updates to the town's emergency operation plan and how the squadron can actually be more supportive and inclusive in that plan. For qualification and achievement, we had one member complete all check rides and evaluations for completion of the drone mission pilot, SUAS. We had one member participate in a disaster event tabletop exercise hosted by Anne Arundel County's Office of Emergency Management. No flight time that month, unfortunately, because of weather. One new cadet joined the squadron, and operational status, we remain fully mission capable and continue to have a number of SUAS qualified personnel available. On the horizon, We have several members on standby right now, actually, to support another counter UAS mission in preparation for the inauguration next week. The squadron will be holding a change of command on 22nd of January, so next Wednesday. And we have several members expected to participate in a wing tabletop exercise later in the month in preparation for an upcoming search and rescue exercise at the wing level. We have our annual support to the Air National Guard Base kitchen duty, and we have 2 members that are traveling to Florida this weekend to participate in the Youth Development Conference. Before I hand over to questions, I want to introduce Captain John Picard, who foolishly or thankfully, however you want to look at it, will be stepping up to take command of the squadron. So this will actually be my last town council meeting that I present the minutes. So pending your questions, that's our report for December.
Any questions?
I just want to say thank you and for all that you've done for the squadron over the years. Thank you, Major.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we also received your end-of-year report, and appreciate that. So you guys have done a lot this year and certainly help out the town, and we'll set up a follow-up meeting for the emergency operations plan.
I'm not physically going anywhere, so I'm happy to continue to support that. I just won't be running the squadron anymore.
But you'll still help with the emergency operations, right?
I can help you with that.
And one other thing, Council, sorry.
No, we learned the definition of Rubicon, so you can't back out.
And I just want to say welcome, Captain.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We'll see you next week.
Well, thank you again for everything and for your reports every month. Very detailed, very well put together. Appreciated everything. And,
Thank you.
Wish you the best, and I'm sure we'll be seeing you anyway.
I appreciate it. Can't get rid of me that easy. Thank you.
Don't want to. All right, thank you very much. Next up, we have our Mount Airy Volunteer Fire Company report with future Hall of Famer, Mr. Matt Hurd.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, anyways, here's the month of December's fire company report. I do appreciate the nomination, whoever nominated me, I do appreciate it. We don't do things to get nominated and be in the Hall of Fame. Like everybody else, we do things for our community to make it better. So that being said, we had 265 calls in the month of December, 189 in Carroll, 59 in Frederick, 13 in Howard, and 4 in Montgomery. Box 113, we had 36 EMS calls. Box 114, we had 11 EMS, 1 fire. Box 11 is 26 EMS, 4 fire. Box 115, 23 EMS and 5 fire. Express Care had 10 calls to service. Box 3, 13 EMS, 2 fire, 9 EMS, 2 fire for Box 14, and Box 15, 8 EMS. That's my December report for the fire company. However, this Sunday, we have our breakfast, so please come on out, get a good buffet, all kinds of good food. Starts at 7:30, goes to 11 o'clock, costs $15 for adults, $9 for children. I think kids under 6 eat for free, so. But anyways, come on out and support the fire company, and thank you.
Where's the breakfast at?
Where's the breakfast at?
Just want to put it out there for everyone.
Oh, at the Mount Airy Exhibits Building.
Just want to make sure. You need a line showing up at the firehouse.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Carl's gonna be in line for his chicken.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, he might be, yeah,
It's
exactly.
breakfast, I'll take the sausage, pancakes, bacon, eggs,
Have his plate ready.
Exactly, right, and the waffles.
and the waffles.
Councilmember DeMeter?
Matt, thank you as always for the report and all you guys do for the town. I have a question. When you give your report, you refer to different box numbers. Are there definitions of what those box numbers, what the areas
So-
are? You don't have to give it to me here, but.
Yeah, well, I'll give you a breakdown, I'll get your email or
Yeah,
go
that'd be,
from there. And then, yeah, the biggest thing is 113 is the senior housing, the Wildwood area.
okay.
Express Cares, so, we broke it down for you guys in regards to that. Then the other box areas are portions in the town. Obviously, we have other box areas outside of town limits, but those areas are in town limits, so
Okay.
we express what we have.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, thank you very much. Next up, we have our Mount Airy Police Department report with Chief Ginevra. Sorry, Chief.
Hello, good evening, everybody, and Happy New Year. Appreciate that. So officers have wrapped up their 2024 training, and we'll be starting in the next few weeks our 2025 training for our upcoming certifications. Our calls for service were 508 for December of 2024 compared to 618 in 2023 of a decrease in calls. We've continued with our monthly traffic initiative. So if anyone has any traffic complaints, please make sure that you forward them to the Mount Airy Police Department. Either myself or the sergeant will address those concerns and get the appropriate officers out to those locations to make their evaluations and continue their enforcement with those initiatives. Here we are, second, third week already with January, and tax season is upon. So I've addressed this several times before in the past, and I'm going to continue to address it. This town, one of our major concerns is our fraud that we have here. So when you're disposing of your personal property, just make sure, if anything, I know the town gives several opportunities to do the shredding, or just go out and purchase a shredder, or just hang on to it until those dates that are posted for that shredding. Shred those documents. Again, folks, when you put your trash out, that expectation of privacy, it's out there. People are going to start coming by. They're going to find out who you are. And the next thing you know, you're going to have some property down in Florida that you didn't know and a boat. So again, if you have any questions about any fraud or anything like that, I've spoken before with this town council and at a couple meetings that I've addressed also. Just make sure that you're getting rid of the property correctly. And if you have any questions, reach out to the police department. Either myself or an officer can go into an explanation of that. We are currently processing several applicants for entry-level officer and 2 applicants for a lateral position. Other than that, most of the information is documented in there, and we did have a chance to participate with Shop with a Hometown Hero this year. Again, another great cause that the officers here at Mount Airy participate in, again, with your resident troopers that continue that support. We did try to do our Pack the Cruiser event, but that was kind of shut down with an unfortunate event, again, at 27 and South Main with the traffic lights going out. So look for the near future that we'll be posting that again to help out our local Mount Airy net in support. Usually, and I shouldn't say usually, I'm sorry, scratch that. This town does an exceptional job when it comes to Pack That Cruiser, the love that this town supports for the Mount Airy net. So again, that's great. So when you see us out there and post that information, make sure you stop by, or you can stop by at any time and drop off some goods, and the officers will make sure that we get that information and the goods out to the net. In closing, I'd like to thank the mayor, town council, the town administrator, and all of the Mount Airy employees, along with everyone here in the community that has shown the Mount Airy Police Department its outstanding support. Not only that, with my administration taking over for the police department, I would not expect anything less from this town from the day that I started here into where I am now. So I'm very grateful, and it's quite humbling to see that support. Again, thank you very much. I'm also looking forward to expanding our relationships within the town and outside of the town with the Mount Airy Police Department. So thank you again. Other than that, I don't have anything else to add, and if anyone has any questions for my report.
Any questions, comments?
Just 2 comments, or unless, okay. Notice that in your packet, you had 2 informational letters from citizens of Mount Airy thanking you for the outstanding services of one for the police department in general for directing the traffic in horrible weather at, I believe, at Route 27 South Main, so thank you. And also one expressing great relief, looks like back in November, for being kind to a new citizen in town that lost their keys.
Yes.
At Wildwood Park. This just goes to show that we have an excellent police force.
Yeah, and that addressing the one comment that was noted in there that we shared on Facebook too, it just goes to show yet again how we've adapted as a police department, again, with respect to this community, that unfortunately that writer that authored that statement had one bad encounter with an officer, and that could be anywhere. It's just showing that and that we as an agency have grown and expanded that we can reach out, and people have seen that and started to address that. So, I mean, that's exceptional, without a doubt. And I'm glad that myself and those officers support that town and that community like that. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? All right, thank you very much, Chief.
Yes, sir, thank you.
All right, next up on the agenda is our mayor, council, and staff reports. We're going to go ahead and table the mayor, council, and staff reports. Most of our commissions did not meet in December for the holidays, so, and we're meeting again in 2 weeks for the February meeting. So anything that you guys have from December, if you did meet by chance, we'll just go ahead and cover in February. But with that being said, I do know that the mayor wanted to read one small excerpt quickly, so we can, I'll relinquish to him.
I just wanted to recognize on January 8th, the town lost one of our citizens that's been very notable in our town for decades and decades. The town lost Emmett Doc Full at the age of 99. Doc was a member of the Mount Airy Hall of Fame, a local veterinarian, a farmer, a rancher, a developer, and a member of St. Michael's of Poplar Springs. His philanthropic contributions to Mount Airy and St. Michael's are countless and have shaped Mount Airy as it has grown while maintaining the qualities of a small town. So Doc Full will be missed, and if we could take about 10 seconds of silence and think about any interactions that you had with Doc Full. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Under new business, there was a reminder for the January 13th public hearing, which has already come and gone. And then commission appointments and reappointments, I don't believe we have any for this month. So we're now on to ordinances and resolutions. On the agenda, we have ordinance 2024-24. It's a budget amendment to add $95,000 for rails to trails east of Main Culvert and paving. This is for adoption. I'm going to make a motion that we table this until the February meeting. We are still waiting on some information regarding exactly what we have to do to approve, to get this 95,000 for the rails to trails. So I'd rather we table it until February, until Katie comes back with some pretty firm information on what exactly we need to do. Do we have a second to table by chance?
I'll second.
All right, do we have any discussion on that? All right, hearing none, all in favor of tabling ordinance 2024-24 until the February town council meeting, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. We do not have any unfinished business, but we will be going into closed session to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice on a legal matter for subject of retaining counsel. So at the conclusion of the closed meeting, this town council meeting will be adjourned. So we will roll call into closed session. Councilmember Evans?
Aye.
Councilmember Munder?
Aye.
Council Secretary Galletti?
Aye.
Councilmember Demoto?
Aye.
I'm an aye as well, and we will see everyone in February. Thank you.